This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from Easter State Hospital, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine.
This is Amanda.
This is Mackenzie.
And Megan.
And tonight we watched The Grudge. We watched both the original and the remake, but we're going to rate the original. So I would give it like 2 out of 5 ghost cats.
I'd go 2.5 ghost cats. Just because it's such a classic.
I'm gonna go 4.5 ghost cats.
We know what you like.
I love The Grudge. I love it.
I also give it 2 ghost cats.
Nice. So today, for our special season finale, we came to a very exciting haunted location. It's a psychiatric hospital. Alright, so I have some history for us to kind of set the stage. So this is the first American psychiatric hospital, in the whole United States. This was the first one. And It was founded in 1773, so literally before the country was even established.
Wow.
Pretty cool. And it was, I just thought this was funny. It was on their website, and it said, so their literal website, it said, with a well-intentioned emphasis on community-focused mental health care. And I just thought it was funny because I was like, intentioned? I was like, are you
Not
failing?
executed.
We're just doing our best.
But so it's 500 acres and consists of 2 patient care buildings, a staff of over 900 to care for over 300 patients.
So that's
Pretty good
that's
ratio.
the
That is a
modern
good
and
ratio.
the old, including, that's everything that they own, you're saying? That's all this land and this land behind us.
Well, and I think that there's an annex type place that's not on these premises. So I don't know if that's all of it absolutely or which part it's referring to. Oh, so 1/3 of the patients here are jail transfers, and that's currently just fun to know.
Interesting.
So not only is it a mental institution, but plenty of these people are facing criminal charges or have already had them. So it was opened on October 12th, 1773. Francis, I'm going to say his name wrong for sure. Francis Fakiri. He was the royal governor of the colony of Virginia at the time, and on November 6, 1776, he gave this speech at the House of Burgesses where he was like, "It is expedient, I should also recommend to your consideration and humanity a poor, unhappy set of people who are deprived of their senses and wander about the country, terrifying the rest of their fellow creatures."
Oh my gosh!
It only gets worse. He
It
just
gets
cracks me up.
worse?
A legal confinement and proper provision ought to be appointed for these miserable objects who cannot help themselves.
Rude.
Every civilized country has a hospital for these people where they are confined, maintained, and attended by able physicians to endeavor to restore to them their lost reason.
Oh
Maintained.
my goodness.
Yeah.
I like that wording.
So that's what he said November 6, 1766, when they still hadn't done anything on April 11th, 1767. This is what he said next. He was like, "I am, as it were, compelled to the daily commission of an illegal act by confining without any authority a poor lunatic who, if set at liberty, would be mischievous to society, and I would choose to be bound by and observant of the laws of the country, as I think this is a point of some importance to the ease and comfort of the whole community, as well as a point of charity to the unhappy objects." The objects again. I shall again recommend it to you at your next meeting when I hope, after mature reflection, I find that to be so condescending, it will be found to be more worth of your attention than it has been. So essentially, he really fought for there to be a hospital for these people, which is good. The way he did it, a little sketch, but
True.
1770s weren't really known for human rights, so.
That's true. He ended up dying before it was built, which was a little bit
So
sad.
sad. They didn't even name it after him.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
It sounds like other people didn't either.
Which at the time that he did this in, like, I mean, it wasn't even the U.S. yet. Like,
Right,
in
right.
these colonies.
In this colony.
Yeah. Instead of a person being, like, determined and diagnosed mentally ill by a doctor, instead, they would be judged by 12 citizens, like a jury, and they would either be found a criminal, a lunatic, or an idiot.
Oh, that's
how you do it.
sad.
Instead of a zodiac sign, it's criminal, lunatic, or idiot.
But which are we?
It's like I'm a criminal moon, a idiot sun, and a lunatic rising.
So you're a Scorpio moon.
I love Scorpio. Love of my life. Scorpio. Any Scorpios listening, hit me up.
Oh, okay. But then it was eventually opened. In 1841, Dr. John Galt was appointed superintendent of the hospital with roughly 125 patients, then called inmates.
Yikes.
At the time, Dr. Galt introduced moral treatment practices, a school of thought which viewed those with mental illness as deserving of respect and dignity rather than punishment for their behavior. Galt provided his patients with talk therapy and occupational therapy and argued for in-house research. He decreased the use of physical restraints, even going an entire year without using them, relying instead on calming drugs, including laudanum, and also proposed deinstitutionalizing patients in favor of community-based care, though this proposal was repeatedly rejected. As the head of the hospital, Galt was successful in pressing for admission of enslaved people with mental illness and taught the enslaved people owned by the hospital. That's what they said. That's not my wording. I just want to be clear. How to provide talk therapy alongside nurses and aides.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, he was the man.
Although he claimed to treat his patients equally regardless of their race, Galt did not publish racial breakdowns of his patients. Oh, yeah. So he brought them in 1846. However, by 1869, racial segregation was reestablished with the creation of Central Lunatic Asylum, later Central State Hospital, which is now located near Petersburg, Virginia. So when the Civil War came, this stuff is about to get messed up, guys. It's crazy.
It's about to get messed
Yeah,
up.
it makes a real turn, because, well, Dr. Galt was turning things around.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's doing his best.
He was a good.
So far, both men well-intentioned, one much more of a hot mess than the other. But-
Yeah, that first guy is yikes.
So when the Civil War came to Williamsburg, the hospital found itself alternately on the side of the lines, and on May 6th, 1862, Union troops captured the asylum. 2 weeks later, on May 17th or 18th, Dr. Galt died of an overdose of laudanum, not just treating the patients. Though it is unclear whether this was intentional or accidental. When the hospital was captured, Union soldiers, so basically, like, they captured the hospital, and then, like, 2 weeks later, he died. Possibly accidental, but maybe not so much.
Dang.
Okay, this part's the worst. When the hospital was captured, Union soldiers found that the 252 patients had been locked in without food or supplies by the fleeing white employees. Somerset Moore was the only non-African American employee to return following the capture, and he gave the keys to release the patients to the occupying men.
How long? I'm sorry. Did you say how long they were locked in there for?
No, it doesn't say, like, when he returned, which also, I don't know, like, how long they went without food or anything. Because, I mean, just because they were locked in,
I mean, you can't feed them.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't necessarily get to them, so I don't know. But also, they're like an army, so I don't know how pressed they are about helping them. I would assume not very. In the following decades, the increasingly crowded hospital saw a regression in methodology as science was increasingly viewed as an ineffective means of dealing with mental illness. Dirty lies. During this era of custodial care, the goal became not to cure the patients, but to provide a comfortable environment for them, separate from society. 1885, the original 1773 hospital burned to the ground due to a fire, which also I thought was really interesting that out of 402 people who were there, only 2 lives were lost in the fire.
Wow.
So not too bad. And then it wasn't rebuilt until 1985. The fire was caused by newly added electrical wiring. So, like, they had just gotten lights, and then the lights betrayed them.
Some electrician did a bad job.
In Oh gosh, I thought this was crazy. In 1935, there were 2,000 patients here. Guess how many people were staffed?
Like maybe
100.
185, but still, like,
For 1,000 patients.
a mess. 2,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2,000 patients.
That was still this old building, or was there anything over here?
Were there additional buildings other than this one behind us?
In 1935, just that building. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I don't. But that's not
way.
like the only building.
Oh,
I don't think there's like stuff behind it. I think we haven't walked around yet,
You're right,
so it's
you're
like
right.
hard for me to know.
I just,
I'm just going based
not
off
imagine
pictures and
2,000
stuff.
people being in that building.
Well, also though, there was for sure a different building for like the women and the men. They were segregated, so there's more. We just haven't walked around yet.
Okay.
Okay, thought this was interesting. So, take us back to the beginning. Originally, there wasn't going to be like an on-staff doctor. They were going to have visiting physicians. The first visiting physician was Dr. John... Man, these people be having hard names. John D. Sequeira. I'm saying it so wrong, but who knows how to say it. So,
It's
what
okay,
can
he's
you do?
dead. Who doesn't know?
He this is like how the person had it written, and I was like, man, I have to just say it how they wrote it because it's too funny. A learned Portuguese Jew
Okay.
was
Okay.
It's a little condescending.
Okay.
well, a little anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Like what? Oh man. Was contracted by the hospital in 1773 as its first visiting physician. His ship was captured by pirates.
Oh.
His medical diploma was destroyed
Oh
as he traveled to the New World.
No.
Man, they have no backups for those in those times.
No, they
I know.
didn't.
Isn't that crazy? But they let him
Oh,
practice
yeah.
when they got here. They were
Just
like,
go on your word.
they were like, we've been waiting for you a long time.
Right.
It's fine. Pirates, man. You know how they be.
Hey, you know, we all been there.
Like, we get it. Pirates. Mhm.
Yep. And just as like a little fun fact, he also introduced the custom of eating tomatoes in Virginia.
What?
Amanda's like, hate him. No, I love it.
I love that.
tomatoes.
Poor
Wow.
guy.
That's weird. Like, yeah, no one's eating tomatoes out here. Have you tried a tomato? That's
I mean, prepare me to blow your mind and then fix it for you.
Oh, I just thought this was interesting. So like again on their website they had some of these pictures where they like said things about it, and one of them was like some graffiti that was of an attendant who worked there, and it said life was quite difficult for attendants who could not be hired in sufficient numbers despite the offer of on-grounds housing and cafeteria privileges. Many were required to live on the same wards as patients at the downtown site. Turnover rates were high, about 50%.
Wow.
Okay, so apparently there's a fountain, but I don't know where it is. We'll have to go exploring for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll find it.
Put that on our scavenger hunt list.
Yeah, but the fountain, Central Court, and one of the arcades as they appeared in the 1950s, that was like the picture they showed, it was really cute, said the ancient hospital's fountain was the focal point of an imaginary dividing line which separated the male and female sides of the hospital. Continued this practice of like separating genders. Patients were forbidden to converse with the opposite sex and were punished immediately by restriction to the locked wards. The Central Court was the scene of attempts to socialize as patients, men on one side and women on the other, called out to each other while trying to avoid observation.
Oh my goodness.
Contact was allowed in the library and the weekly evening dance. The dance continues to this day on Wednesdays monthly.
Adorbs.
I know. I was like, what?
That reminds me of that scene in Nurse Ratched. That dance did not go well.
Oh my gosh. And there was this building called the Thurmond Building. In the attic of it, thousands of pigeons would end up trapped in the attic of it.
no.
And the employees would eat them. Because eating pigeon wasn't that weird then.
Oh, I guess that my brain immediately went to someone like snapping its neck with their teeth, like all ravenous. But I guess if you just were to capture
Like
them,
Ozzy
then
Osbourne
you-
style.
Then
that
it's
bad?
basically like eating a chicken. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
just
just weird to us. So the guy who's the director of it now is Frank Gallagher. He said it was kind of a sleepy hospital in 2010 with maybe some 90 admissions. As of 2018, we had almost 1,200 admissions.
Whoa.
Does he explain the jump?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
People just
Weird.
be...
Probably the jump is that some other place closed,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
that would be my guess
yeah, that
for
would
that
make
big of a
sense.
jump.
Yeah, 'cause it's large.
Yeah, or that they like opened a new wing or something like that would be my guess. Patient deaths at the hospital have also been on the rise. In 2017, there were 11. In 2018, there were 14. So not that bad, like of a rise.
Considering the jump in the amount of patients they got in 18 to only increase by 3 additional deaths, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said, at times it's been more issues like pneumonia. There have been folks that have been undertreated, and we've had folks that, due to complications with diabetes, have led to further complications. So,
Diabetes.
dying of pneumonia must be the worst, though. Oh, man. I saw this thing, which also, when I was researching, there's, like, this library that has, like, all the stuff, because after, like, 125 years of you being dead, all your medical records are, like, public record. People can go through them. And you can, like, put in a research thing and then, like, look through all of it for this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. Just be digging through all of it. But I saw that at one point the name of the place was the Public Hospital for Persons of Insane and Disordered Minds. And I was like, guys, my mind is just disordered.
Guys, it's fine.
But yeah, so that is pretty much what I have for the history. And now we're going to take it over to Amanda, who is going to fill us in on some of the cool, spooky ghost stories.
So, one of the prominent ghosts I've seen is of a doctor. Can you guess which doctor it is?
Galt.
Yeah. Avi. Yeah, so he was not a fan of the cruel and inhumane testing that had been happening before. And so, as Nadine said, he really turned things around. He was a superintendent of the hospital for 21 years. What I read is that it was believed that he killed himself because he was, like, really upset about what was happening to the hospital because of the Civil War and, like, was just really passionate about the patients. There are reports of him being, like, really depressed after. So now people say they see him, like, roaming the halls of the hospital. Amy Billings, an employee working at the rebuilt public hospital, said tourists complain of sudden gusts of wind sweeping through the halls. What's even more strange is sometimes when we arrive in the morning, the bed in the exhibition rooms look like they've been slept in.
Wow.
Cindy Franklin, another Colonial Williamsburg employee, also experienced strange occurrences in the asylum. At times, items in the hospital seem to disappear. No matter how long we search, we can never find them. The weird thing about this is later the same day they magically reappear. Sometimes I think our ghost is a practical joker. Maybe he's bored and needs to get in a little mischief. That's her
play
quote.
with me.
He's like, come on, I'm bored. And so it's just a little bit of what people experience in the hospital. But Dr. Galt, it is said that, like, after he overdosed, he had a major brain bleed and it was all over the floor in his home. And then the next family to live there, I guess it was like the next superintendent of the hospital or something, they couldn't get the stains out of the floor, so they replaced the floorboards completely, only for the stains to return. And the children of the house to report seeing a man in the same room at night.
No!
Yeah. And then there's the
Haunting both. He's like, gotta have that home work-life balance.
yeah, exactly. And then there's the ghost assassin, another ghost that's been seen by William and Mary students back in 2003, is believed to be a ghost of the former silent patient who escaped into the hedge maze of the governor's palace with the intent of killing the governor. The students were enacting a school tradition when they climbed the palace wall into the hedge maze, where they saw a pair of white feet creeping up on them.
Wow.
So this guy was not successful in killing the governor, right?
No. Yeah, but those are the main ghost things.
Very nice, very creepy.
I know. Unfortunately, they did tear down Dr. Galt's house after that family lived there right after he did. Yeah, they were like, not dealing with this haunted house no more.
All right, well, we're going to go explore the grounds and try to pick up. All right, guys, so we just walked around the property and hypothetically, we went inside, allegedly. So we're going to talk about that now.
Totally hypothetical. If we had gone inside, what would we have seen, Nadine?
So
If we
much
had gone
graffiti,
in?
like
A
more than
lot,
you can
so
imagine.
Heaps of trash.
Oh, so much trash.
I think, well,
The
I
fun
know what you'll
trash.
talking, but I think it was just so weird because hypothetically, like, there's just tons of manuals and files and things. And
I mean, we
chairs.
can only imagine,
Good old fire safety manuals. That's why this place definitely didn't burn down.
and why it won't burn down in the future.
Yeah, still protecting the place. Only one corpse.
Snowman.
No.
Bird.
There was a literal file of someone who had been there, and there were a ton of files, but most of those were like school stuff. But there was one that was definitely like about the person and like their behavioral issues and them being released and stuff.
It was an 11-year-old, so
Yeah.
definitely a wide range of patients.
I know.
I just felt like the size was so weird. Like, the outside looks kind of small, and then the inside looks kind of big, and then it also feels small, and then it's just
Yeah.
like the weird proportions.
Tell them about the feeling you had at one point, Mackenzie.
I'm, like, really sensitive to ghosts, so we'll see how, like, tonight even goes, but I was fine, just, like, a normal kind of spooked of, like, oh, it's so creepy, adrenaline, but when we went in, like, on the second floor into that first big room, something was in there. I don't know. It was really, all of a sudden, it was, like, I felt very, like, weighed down, and, like, my chest was heavy, and I felt like someone was looking from across the room, like, kind of hiding behind chairs, kind of a feeling, like, watching and just, like, not menacing, but very confused. Like, I think it was, like, they were just sort of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you here? Kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
And I just, like, could instantly feel, like, I don't know. I was like, I don't want to, like, be the one. Like, I need other people around. Yeah, I don't know. It was just, and that was, like, really one of the only times I felt it. A little bit other times, but, like, there was another point we went where I'm like, oh, something's definitely following us around, but I don't know. It was just, like, more of a confused spirit, I think. Not really wasn't menacing, wasn't upset, just sort of like, there's definitely things in there, for sure.
And just a creepy vibe in general, where it's like so many hallways and like dark passages where you're just like, ugh, like, is something looking at me from down there?
So, like, half open doors and, like, half open.
Upturned chairs.
Yeah.
Looks like a video game.
Yeah.
Not hard to get into. I made it look so much harder than it was. It was not bad.
It was crazy easy to hypothetically possibly maybe go
Yeah,
into.
for someone who would. We are law-abiding citizens and would never trespass. But if we hypothetically did, it would be pretty cool.
There may or may not be a broken window with a bucket in front of it.
Yeah.
Definitely, we can say that tons of people do go in there,
Yeah.
We're not above peeking.
just peeking around.
It took me so long to like process that. I was like, what did she say?
What does she mean? Did you have any kind of special experience thinking?
No, I mean, I don't really believe in ghosts, so didn't get any, like, creepy vibes. I hypothetically thought it was interesting walking around, you know. If that was something we were able to do, it would be a very interesting experience.
Had we been able to do it.
Yes, to
In
walk
a nice-
around all the glass.
Yeah, a big, empty, abandoned psychiatric ward. The first one in the whole country.
Definitely a trash dumping ground, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
For a surprising amount of decorations. I think that's the thing that surprised me the most. I was like, what are all these decorations?
Like all
Which
the Halloween
also,
and Christmas
well, yeah,
stuff.
because I was also like, is it Halloween? Is it Christmas? What's happening?
Yeah.
Are you like me and they're interchangeable?
The Scrooge tombstone.
I know.
That's weird.
Putting on a play.
'Cause I'm like, did someone haul this in through the window? Like, what went on?
Maybe it's a hospital. I don't know. It's weird.
But it was good. But so hopefully you guys enjoyed this spooky stroll with us. Little spook squad action. All right, so you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. See you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 146 days till Halloween. Bye. And tonight we watched The Grudge. We actually watched both, the original and the remake. We don't know what we're ranking it out.
Yeah.
What is wrong with us? Well, why don't you say things?
You were already talking.
But interrupt, because what does it matter?
Cat
Let's
ghosts?
rate it out of...
Ghost cats?
And I'm actually going to start us off with some history. I cannot hold this the whole time. I don't know why I'm doing it or why I'm asking you to fix me holding it.
Just hold it in your mouth.
Oh, are you going to hold it the whole time?
Yeah, who else is gonna hold it the whole time?
We just set it down. Also, should we have done a test to make sure that we can, like, hear them and stuff?
Oh my gosh.
I think you can. We can talk a little louder if you need us to.
Well, I have no idea. I haven't heard it. You might be a perfect...
Okay, we're stopping.